In studio by former hostage negotiator at the South African Police Services, Dirk Coetzee. Dirk, a very good evening to you and thanks for your time. What would you do in a situation like this, especially when there seems to have been some fault on the side of someone like that employee of Gift of the Givers?
The moment when the trust is broken between the negotiator as well as with the hostage taker, it will take a while to rebuild that trust again. And depending on the situation, we need, or the team will sit and work out a strategy how to take it forward from there on.
What are the do's and don'ts here, though? The absolute do's and don'ts?
The main thing of if it was a situation in South Africa, it's much easier. The fact that it's now in a foreign country very far from South Africa make it very difficult. And whoever negotiate with the hostage takers, it's very important that they mustn't push for time. They must take their time to negotiate with this person. And of course, the way they speak to this person, specifically, you must choose your words very well. And you must never let them feel as if you are superior to them. And of course, the main thing is to listen, because you cannot communicate if you cannot listen.
If it's about money, though, and there's a specific demand and it comes down to money, and we know the policy, we know that we don't negotiate with hostage takers, apparently we don't give money, but we also hear that there are things that happen behind the scenes and it's not official. So how do you approach that? How do you work behind the scenes, you know, and I know it's probably secrets that you're not able to tell us, but in terms of letting the family know, look, it's okay, and should we be encouraged by the fact that he's still alive or seems to still be alive all these years later?
That's correct. From government side, no government in the world will ever pay for a person that's been taken hostage. Is that true, though? The reason being that whenever it came to light that the government pay ransom money, there will be a target on that country's citizens wherever they travel in the world, because now the criminals, terrorists will know that this person or this country's government will pay. From the police side, we will never pay money, and we will, if the family can afford it, we will assist them to pay the ransom and to make sure they get value for money in order to get their loved one back. So
if the family can't come up with the money, or whoever it is, somebody other than government, there will be some kind of assistance in getting in getting the process underway of paying and getting the person back home?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We will assist them with that.
So in this case, and from what you're seeing here, how would you handle this case with Shiraaz Mohamed?
Ma'am, you put me on the spot, because
if you were.
They always said the best rugby player sitting on the stage. It's difficult. What I can tell you, from the police side, we always deal with situations like that with a team. And we will work out a strategy with the family, and from there we will take it. So it's not a one-man show. It will be definitely a whole team that will address this issue.
Just from what you saw in that video, and obviously the family is, I'm sure, as we heard in Govern's piece, they're absolutely distraught at the moment. What would be your advice to them, just about, you know, some personal advice on how they should deal with those emotions right now, and what to do and keep a cool head, I suppose? And
that is so important, because if earlier I mentioned time. If we look, I think it's more than 2 years and 6 months now that Shiraaz is been kept that side. And that's very important. That's actually one of the goals of a negotiator, to play for time. Because if you start pushing now for time, they may decide to take drastic steps that side. And the fact that he's still alive is so, it's wonderful. And I think that must be the straw that the family must hang on to at this stage.
Okay, it is certainly a very, very tight place to be in, a rock and a hard place, I suppose, but it's a game, I suppose, that they're playing at the end of the day. Okay, thank you very much. That is Dirk Coetzee. He's a former hostage negotiator at the SAPS. And